Welcome. What is good? Oh man, you can just tell that the markets are just waiting for this FOMC madness. And we're all going to be waiting for it as well. Haven't really seen that much activity today other than Bitcoin making a nice move up to only pull it back down again. Hits the all-time high and then just retraces. And it's doing pretty well to say that it's made an all-time high. The pullback after that big red vector candle has done Bitcoin a good job today, in my opinion. Daily open being tested like no tomorrow. But what does it all mean? Well, let's just put it into perspective. Even the NASDAQ and the S&P are like holding the highs right now. And it's all like, what's going to happen next? The Fed is in, how can I put it to you? The markets already know that the Fed's cutting interest rates tomorrow. Happy days. But what are they going to do in 2025? That's what investors and traders are all going to be listening to. Are we going to get a cut? Apparently, we're going to get a pause. Why? Because inflation is still a problem. You had the retail sales come out today. That gave us the idea that maybe the Fed has got a little bit of a cause for concern. And usually, if it goes from cutting to pausing, it could actually end up going to increasing interest rates again. People say they will never do it, but they said exactly the same thing in the 70s, and then they increased the interest rates. Bitcoin will never go to $100. It will never go to 100K. We're now sat at 106,000. So we can never say never in this marketplace. So tonight's live, we're just going to prepare you guys all for what to expect tomorrow. Some of you might still be awake this evening going into the Asian session. Some of you might be asleep during the FOMC press conference. But fundamentally, it's a big day tomorrow. So if you are new passing through, make sure you hit the like, subscribe so you don't miss out on tomorrow's live stream where we're going to tune in to hear what Powell has to say about the Fed's policy rate. Do you like the thumbnail? What a guy. Anyway, let's get with the program, ladies and gentlemen. Let's try and keep this one short and sweet. So Bitcoin price action, as you can see, we've got Ethereum making a little bit of a move to the downside. Bitcoin pulling back, holding above key moving averages for the 1 hour time frame. Quickly going over to Ethereum. Ethereum has just been getting bullied left, right, and center today. I didn't take any trades today because it's just FOMC flavor. You get one candle and then BS. So that's really what's going on here. But some could look at it as an accumulation. When we go across the board in terms of news for cryptocurrency and for the stock market, we've got the stocks pairing gains as such. But that, you know, it's what you've got to understand. When the markets are waiting for big information, you really shouldn't be trading. You shouldn't, because there is no direction per se. You go over to the NASDAQ and the S&P, you can see bright as day. There's not really done much. Yeah, they gapped up last night, but they're now sort of closing that gap. It's been a chop festicity over there. Going into NVIDIA, you can see NVIDIA's been pulling back. It's not really done too much. Tesla's been absolutely ripping it apart. Is the only thing that's holding the markets all together, nearly at that $500 mark. That is absolutely wild. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out tomorrow. Looking at all the top boys as well. Amazon, she's doing all right. We've got Meta itself pulling back just in line with the NASDAQ. We've got gold as well. Gold takes a little bit of a shoe bag to the downside to only come back up, to only come back down again. And what you've got to understand is gold tomorrow is probably going to make some very big moves. We are getting a rate cut, which naturally does mean that investors would usually turn over to gold just for a better investment against holding the US dollar. Going into the US dollar itself, you can see where we are. Here we go. Dollar dominance is still consolidating sideways. That could mean that we could see some activity going into tomorrow's FOMC. We've got a wick up here at 107. That's something that can happen. We've got a bond auction coming into play soon as well, which then tells us exactly where we are with the yields. The yields came down to only come back up, and the 10-year bonds market itself ain't doing nothing. So investors aren't really committing liquidity anywhere right now. But in crypto news, Microstrategy, Michael Saylor is saying, look, we can solve the US debt problem. Get involved. By the time they actually get involved in passing this bill for the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, this is probably going to go up. And it's going to keep on going up. How is Bitcoin going to solve the problem that every person in the US owes $271,790 debt per taxpayer? Like, if they're going to buy Bitcoin and give it to and split it up to the American nation, where you ain't going to have that much to give away, are you? Yeah. The only thing is with regards to this Microstrategy story, is it's only good for Bitcoin, nothing else. And it's good for him as well, and for Bitcoin holders. That's the thing, you know, it's this guy is, he's the greatest salesman for Bitcoin, and he's only going to say things like this. But he does say that Bitcoin can become a store of value. So let's really look at it. Can it become a store of value? Well, $7 billion worth of BTC has been picked up by whales. So they obviously believe it's a store of value because they're just picking loads of it up, which could mean this could be the preparation for the FOMC going into tomorrow. We are anticipating that the Bank of Japan does not cut the interest rates, okay? And the problem that we've got here is it says here, look at this. It says whether tomorrow's Fed decision is positive, negative, or neutral for stocks and bonds likely won't be determined by any actual rate cut. In other words, tomorrow, even if the Fed does cut, which it is, the stock market isn't really going to be doing anything. In principle, they're going to be listening in to see what the Fed has in store for us in 2025. The problem that we've got is data like today came out, retail sales month on month, 0.7% up than what they had previously expected. Like, come on. I don't get why they're cutting. And I think, you know what? I think the Fed is cutting right now to save face. That's what I think's going on. Because you say, get all these guys who are, you know, economists on X as such, and they're all saying it doesn't make sense that the Fed is cutting the interest rates. Inflation's going up. The whole reason why they were reluctant to cut so aggressively is because inflation could pop up its head. Now, as I said, if we then go back to 1970s when they had stagflation, which is something that we could effectively end up going into. You know, look at the labor market. It's still doing all right. There's no real concern there. And I genuinely think that what's going to cause the market to collapse, okay, and do a nice wipeout across the board is two things, right? The first one being if the Federal Reserve were to change its policies. In other words, instead of cutting, they increase. Now, people are saying to me in the comment section, they will never increase, they will never increase. Fed can do whatever it wants. And if it's stuck with that 2% inflation target that they want and inflation keeps going up, what do you think they're going to do? Inflation has gone up at the rate that we are at now, which means that the rate we are at now ain't doing nothing for inflation. Now they're going to wait and see if inflation can sustain itself at these current rates. But the new rate coming out is going to do what? We ain't going to reduce inflation now, is it? Because we know inflation isn't going anywhere because retail sales are going up. People are spending money. There are less people claiming benefit. The unemployment rate is only 4.2%. Like, those are really good figures. So that's really what's got my attention. So Fed could increase the interest rates as an event that would scare the market and everything just drops, right? The next event could be a slowdown in the AI markets. In other words, if the conversation that comes out or at the event that Jensen's going to be having regarding NVIDIA, the key speaker event, right? If he doesn't really sell the idea of what's coming in the future, that could be a problem. But as I said earlier on today, the Taiwanese semiconductor index itself is starting to contract. The exports are starting to contract. The revenues are starting to go down. That could lead to the bubble bursting, and then everything comes down. But we need it to all come down because I think Bitcoin now has enough behind it to be the alternative investment. That's what I think. And I've said this before. You need an event in the marketplace for Bitcoin to completely remove itself away from the norm of the legacy markets. Because right now, Bitcoin is following the stock market. It really is. Right now, Bitcoin has got the problem of the ETFs, but no one's dumping anything anyway. So that's good news for us. All right. But principally, if investors that are inside of the ETF itself aren't liking what they're seeing, there's a good chance that they're going to offload on this and they're probably going to want to take some profits. So That's something you got to take into consideration. Ripple's stable coin goes live on multiple global exchanges, and XRP pumps 5%. Happy day. Let's go and have a look at XRP. So XRP is doing relatively well, holding at that $2.60 mark. It's not really doing too much, but word on the street is they want $4 XRP. I mean, if it goes to $4, man, that is just absolutely wild. It's not too far away, but that's something that really is one of those ones. Will it? Will it not? Who knows? Going into Bitcoin quick time right now, having a look. 1 hour time frame. Yeah, we spoke about that. Daily time frame itself, we've got Bitcoin just showing choppy behavior. Now, what you got to be mindful of, guys, is this. Even though price is above the 5 and 13 EMA, a lot of people are calling for Bitcoin to actually pull back. We go into the bids and the offers on Bitcoin. You can see Ethereum's got some interesting behavior right here. Got lots of bids coming into play. We've got a fat boy or offer right here on Ethereum that was probed earlier on, but they didn't manage to actually succeed at taking it too much. But what I think could be happening going into tonight will be a lot of the market might stabilize, to be frank with you, because they're getting ready for FOMC. Now, Bitcoin's price action here, if we just have a look at the offers coming into play on Bitcoin, you know, not really got that much liquidity. Got 17 million at 108,142. And I'm finding that there are less offers as price is going higher in comparison to when Bitcoin hit 100K. So it could be that there are a lot of people right now wanting to buy Bitcoin in these ranges, which would explain this consolidation happening right now. Open interest is tipping off a little bit, but quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, just looking at the daily time frame itself, when you don't have anything to trade into or any historical evidence to suggest that maybe something could happen again, then all you are relying on is the capacity of each move away from every level it moves from. So in other words, you've got this level right here. We were talking about this level. Technically, the guys who have been buying inside of this range, when we marked it off last week, just go and watch last week's lives, you guys would be in a profit right now, but the candle's not showing conviction. This candle showed a bit of conviction. This one didn't, and this one didn't, which is consistent with them sweeping the highs and pulling price back down, okay? When you don't see big candlesticks pushing price out, trying to get away from a specific zone, it's suggestive that maybe there's not enough people stepping in to buy Bitcoin, which could mean that the guys that want to sell it, maybe not just there. Now, that could be a benefit. That could mean that they expect it to move higher before they do start to sell it. But when we look at how Bitcoin's behaving right now, from a momentum perspective, there's nothing to invalidate the idea of Bitcoin coming down, only unless they do actually make it back into this 104 region, which was the last zone that they broke away from. If they break into this point right here, we're probably going to want to pay attention to how price behaves in there. And even if it does break down into the 104 region itself, then we're going to be paying attention to these moving averages. From a market making perspective, I've said this yesterday, I'll say it again. I actually believe that the market makers or the dealers who are playing Bitcoin, okay, there's not been any word out there in regards to them playing shorts as such, but we know that as they mark prices higher, they are effectively running shorts. But what you've got to understand is, in terms of delta neutral, where the market maker tries to eliminate risk as a contributor of liquidity to the marketplace. Remember, we take from market maker, he takes from us, but he gives us the opportunity to use leverage, and the futures markets will always dictate Bitcoin's price, in my opinion. Some of you might challenge that, but you've got more futures volume than you do spot volume, all right? So when I'm looking at the chart, I'll say to myself, okay, then what could market makers, dealers be doing? I think they're actually playing gamma negative because of the interest that's happening right now with Bitcoin. I believe that they're now playing spot Bitcoin. So they're effectively building their shorts, but at the same time running spot trades as well, just to benefit off the rally to the upside, with the intention that Bitcoin is going to roll over at some point, where those shorts will then start to get triggered and they're going to start making a return. But because they've covered themselves in terms of gamma negative, where they are buying spot and selling the futures, they're effectively going to not break even, but they're going to maintain their risk and bring delta to a neutral stance. Okay. So when you're looking at the charts, have that in your mind and say, well, some people say, why does it just keep on going up? Why is it going up? Why is it going up? Well, people are trying to short Bitcoin, which naturally fuels the move to the upside anyway. All right. And that liquidity keeps coming into the charts, which means that retail is just going to get smacked left, right, and center. And they'll place a short, margins get hit. Place a short, margins get hit. All right. So what you really want to look for is when Bitcoin starts to roll over, wait for the first time it tries to get back up towards the all-time high and fail it. And looking at it from this time frame perspective, we have not had that structure yet. It was started over here. They came down, but then they broke away from that structure. Now we're in essence waiting for that logic to come into play, right? So imagine if Bitcoin were to come down from here, the first attempt back up and failure, they actually fail this point right here, that would then give us the logic that Bitcoin is now going to start a markdown phase and come back down to pick up some orders. Don't worry, it's okay if Bitcoin gets a bit cheaper, guys. It's all right. You know, don't lose your minds. This is not bearish. This is not negative. This is mark up, mark down. If you're only expecting prices just to keep rising, because it is a weird time right now, everything's just going up. Fundamentals are not backing prices rising. But BlackRock said that the US right now is going into exceptionalism. What does that mean? Well, it means that it's just blowing everyone out of the park. It believes that companies are going to jump on the back of these great earnings that we've been seeing from the Magnificent Seven, and all other companies are going to be benefiting from it as well, which when you think about it, if we're going into a big AI hype, all the companies that are being or working behind Microsoft or with Microsoft and Nvidia or Meta and what have you, they're going to see a benefit from it. Anyone that's involved in AI is going to look for a stock that might be cheap enough to buy because all the Mag 7 are just too expensive right now. And value in the stock market is over 35%. So where's your risk to reward? What are you going to get? Stocks are actually overvalued by 35% plus. All right, the first time in how many years? I'm looking to see if the market will increase and go up by another 25, 30%. And you know what it could do, because Fundstrat, Mr. Lee, says that he expects it to increase by 16% going into 2025. So he's taken just a little bit of that. But my days, man, the markets are going to be crazy going into the new year. Looks like we're going to have a strong first quarter based on that information. But again, tomorrow, Bank of Japan, they're going to be revealing, well, going into the evening, Thursday morning, early hours, they're going to be revealing if they do cut the interest rates. And you know what? I think that if they do say that they're going to increase the interest rates, I think the market will do a flash crash drop and then shoot back up again. That's what I think is going to happen if they do increase it, because they did exactly just that on the 5th of August. And that's what you want to see. The faster they drop, the faster they'll come back up again. And it would be a manipulative move. Okay? Cool. Any other questions, guys? Have you got any questions for me? And then we can kill this live to make life easier for you. No? Well, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I've given you a bit of time. Tino, you was bearish on Bitcoin yesterday. No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. Platinum members know I wasn't bearish on Bitcoin yesterday. How was I bearish on Bitcoin? I was long on Ethereum yesterday. How was I bearish on Bitcoin? Oh, you might have probably heard me say, if Bitcoin pulls back by $3 and it could actually move up, you might have said, oh my God, he said it dropped $3. You bearish person. Anyways, never mind. Why do no? Not looking at that. Any other questions, guys? Tina, what do you think the next FTX moment will be? I don't think that I don't think we will get another FTX moment in cryptocurrency. I think crypto's learned its lesson. I think all these exchanges behaved the way they behaved because the old dudes in the SEC were gunning down their throats. Now you've got a much more relaxed SEC with a president who's all about crypto, who holds $50 million worth of cryptocurrency under the World Liberty company that he's got. Why would any exchange want to screw that up? You know, that's really what you want to be looking at. I mean, if there is major hacks, but we've had hacks left, right, and center. That hasn't done anything. And because you can't necessarily hack Bitcoin, I don't think there's, and you know what? Any event that happens in cryptocurrency is not because of crypto. It's because of the exploitation of crypto. In other words, Bitcoin, FTX, it wasn't Bitcoin's fault that FTX happened, you know? But people will put a stigma on crypto because of FTX, and they'll put the stigma on Bitcoin. That's why people are still Googling, what is crypto? What is Bitcoin? You know, and we, God forbid, you hope that they don't see the FTX scandal. Because if they see that, they think, nah, no chance. Even though nothing happened to Bitcoin, yeah, it may have reacted aggressively on the price action and what have you, but nothing bad happened to Bitcoin. There was no compromise of Bitcoin. So why is ETH stuck at 4K? I mean, listen, man. This behavior with Ethereum is exactly the same as what it did in the 1800 price point. Those of you remember back in the day before the bull run, when Ethereum just kept holding that $1,800 zone, it wouldn't go above it too much. It would always go below it. And then all of a sudden, Ethereum said, nope, and just kept on going. She just would not stop above that 1800. The 50 EMA on the 1 hour time frame, every single day, it just kept on going up. It did not stop. I think that's what could be happening with Ethereum right now with regards to the 4K, which will take us to the all-time high. It's bloody embarrassing that Ethereum hasn't claimed its all-time high. But then again, it's all about Bitcoin. And I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. Every coin next to Bitcoin is a meme coin. That's the truth, which is why you've got to make your money in these meme coins or these altcoins and get out. Because fundamentally, if the US government's buying Bitcoin, why aren't they buying Ethereum? Why aren't they buying Chainlink? Why aren't they buying Ripple? Why aren't they buying Fetch AI? Why aren't they buying ADA? I mean, the tech is there. It's great technology. Yeah, we love it. But why Michael Saylor talking about any other cryptocurrency? That should be it right there for you. You know? What did he say? There's no alternative. There's no second best. That was funny how he did that. Stacey Lewis, pay attention to you. Why? Clean doesn't want to answer my question. What's your question? Thank you, Mo. I hope you can make sense of it. Stacey, what's your question? I'm getting shouted at by Stacey. Here we go. Tino, how tall are you? And do you always fill tall orders? Why are you asking me questions like that? I'm 5'10", I think. 5'10", 5'11", I think. Depends on what day of the week it is, you know? If I can't be bothered, I'm just slouched. I'll drop a few inches. I don't care. There's your answer. When will Japan announce the rate? Japan will announce the interest rate cut or not, or increase. It's tentative. Again, they don't give a time. Tentative. They don't give a time. Just when the Japanese markets are open tomorrow in the Tokyo and Hong Kong session, you're going to see some interesting movement, you know? So it could be within an 8-hour period, you know? Tina, for the first time ever, I've seen a green vector candle on the 12-month time frame. I mean, look, man, a 12-month time frame is a little bit crazy. That is a 12-month. Okay. I mean, look at that. Look at that right there. Bitcoin got listed on Pancake Swap. Now get ready for the dump. Tino, someone is auctioning your chest hair on eBay. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a wonderful evening, man. People asking me and telling me what's going on eBay regarding my chest hair. Listen, if you are new, hit the like button, subscribe, get with that flavor. We've got a big live tomorrow, all right? It's going to be in the evening because the FOMC press conference will be at 7 p.m. UK time, but I'll be live beforehand just to get everybody warmed up and ready for the madness that will unfold. With that being said, have yourself a great evening, guys, and I'll tune in to you tomorrow for the New York Live. Take care of yourselves, gang. Hit the like button on the way out. Talking about my chest here, man. That's bad news, bro.